The screen flickers alive. The endless white of a frozen wasteland fills the view. Wind screams across the open land, sharp and violent like claws tearing at the air. Snow whirls in great walls of ice and shadow. The storm has no mercy, no pause, no kindness, only endless rage. Metal gates rise with a heavy echo, one after another. From them step out the chosen creatures, alien soldiers with armor of black iron, hunters with bone spears and energy rifles, predators from worlds unknown with fangs glowing in frostlight. Each one stares at the cold emptiness before them. None speak, their breath already stolen by the sharp air. They were told nothing of the rules, no one explained, no one guided. They only knew this one command: survive or die. The Arctic Hunt simulation accepts no weakness, no error, no mercy. It feeds on fear, it feeds on pride, it feeds on every drop of blood spilled in the snow. The first wave of wind strikes them. It cuts through metal and scales, through fur and shell. The claws of the storm freeze mid-swing. The weight of the blizzard crushes wings, muffles voices, blinds every eye that dares to look too far. Visibility falls until nothing is clear. Only a curtain of white stretches across their vision. Creatures howl, their roars lost, their weapons clatter as fingers stiffen. Every step feels heavier than the last. Every breath burns in their lungs. They were chosen because they were strong. They were chosen because they were hunters, killers, predators. And yet already the cold laughs at their strength. Already the snow swallows their pride. But among them stands one who is not armored in high-tech steel, not wrapped in glowing shields, not blessed with claws or fangs that shine like blades. He stands silent, wrapped only in rough gear, wool and leather, nothing more than what a wanderer would wear. His eyes narrow at the storm, unblinking, unshaken, unbroken. This is the human, the last to step through the gate. His frame looks fragile compared to the hulking warriors beside him. His weapons are nothing but a simple blade strapped to his side and a small pack at his back. The aliens glance at him with confusion, some with mockery, some with hunger. They do not fear him. They see no threat, no danger. The storm screams again, louder, sharper. Snow crashes sideways in thick waves. Already some creatures stumble. Already some shield their faces. The predators hiss. The hunters curse. The soldiers tighten their ranks. But the human does not move. He lets the snow wash over him like an old friend. His breath steady, his body still. His eyes locked ahead into the storm, as if he can see something none of the others can. The alien predators look at him and snarl. Their pride cannot accept such calmness. To them he is prey. Soft prey standing foolishly in the open. One beast lowers its stance. Its scales glint with frost. Its claws dig into the ice. Its mouth drips steam into the frozen air. Eyes fixed on the lone human who dares to stand without fear. The human turns his head slightly. His gaze rests on the beast, not long, not loud, not even sharp, just calm, steady, almost bored, the look of one who has seen storms greater than this, hunts deeper than this, trials harsher than this, a gaze that does not shout but whispers, "You will fail." The aliens feel the cold crawl deeper into their bones. Some shiver, some grip weapons tighter, some step back from the rising blizzard. They came as hunters, yet the land itself now hunts them. The snow blinds them, the wind deafens them. The ground shifts beneath their feet like a living beast waiting to swallow. The Arctic hunt is alive, and it is merciless. The first predator cannot wait. Hunger drives it forward. Rage burns in its chest. The storm may crush all others, but it believes it will feast first. Its roar shatters the silence. Claws strike the snow. It leaps with power that could break steel. Its body a black shadow against the white void. It charges the human. The human does not flinch, does not stumble, does not turn to flee. His hand rests on his blade, but he does not draw it yet. He lets the storm rage. He lets the beast close. He waits, silent, a shadow in the snow, calm as the frozen world around him. The aliens watch, their eyes wide, their breath sharp, their thoughts tangled in fear and wonder. Will the human break? Will he run? Will he scream? Or will he fight? They do not know. But one truth rings clear through the roar of the storm. The hunt has begun. The roar fades into the storm, yet its echo lingers in the bones of those who hear. The predator that charged the human lands with crushing weight, claws spread wide, jaws glowing with frost steam. The snow shatters under its leap. Its eyes blaze with hunger and fury. It believes this will be easy, a swift kill to break the silence of the hunt. The human does not meet it head-on. Instead, he shifts lightly, a movement so small yet so sharp. The charging beast tears through empty space. Its claws rake nothing but air. Its roar twists into confusion. And in that instant, the storm joins the fight. The blizzard slams against the predator's flank. Snow blinds its eyes. Ice cracks beneath its weight, and it tumbles into the whiteness with a howl that drowns in the wind. The other creatures freeze, fear rising in their throats. They had seen nothing, only the sudden fall of a predator meant to dominate. Its strength swallowed, as if the land itself rejected it. Some shout across the gale, but their voices scatter, torn apart by the endless screaming wind. No one knows where the human is gone, his form swallowed by snow, his steps erased as if he was never there. One soldier with plated armor tries to march forward. His boots sink deep into drifts that shift like liquid. The ice cracks and spirals beneath his weight. He swings his blade through the air, shouting orders no one hears. But the storm answers with a howl that rips the word from his throat. His armor grows heavy with frost. His vision fogs. He stumbles, claws of cold creeping into every joint, until even the strongest metal feels like chains. The hunters cluster together, bone spears raised, their eyes darting into the storm. Shadows move where there should be none. Whispers echo where no mouths speak. They sense the presence of the human, though they cannot see him. He is a ghost within the snow, drifting silently, leaving no mark, waiting for the storm to strike for him. Another predator growls, larger than the last, fur as black as void, fangs like carved ice. Its breath rises in thick clouds. It lowers its head and charges. The ground shakes with every step, yet before it can reach the pack of hunters, the ice beneath cracks. A hidden fissure yawns open like the mouth of a giant beast. The predator plunges down, its roar cut short. The storm fills the hole with white silence. Nothing remains. Terror spreads quickly. The hunters stumble back. Some scream that the land itself is hunting them. Some claim the human has cursed the ground. Their unity shatters. Their courage melts. Their spears tremble. One throws his weapon blindly into the storm, but it vanishes without sound, swallowed by the endless night of snow. The human watches from the shadows of drifting ice, his breath steady, his body pressed against a wall of frost. He moves when the wind howls loud enough to hide his steps. He pauses when the storm softens. His eyes track every movement of the terrified aliens. They are stronger than him in flesh and weapon, but they do not belong here. They fight the storm, and the storm is endless. One soldier breaks from the group. Rage overtakes fear. His voice rises like thunder as he charges into the whiteness, swinging his blade at every shape that shifts. But the storm plays tricks, showing shadows where none exist. The soldier spins, shouting curses into the wind, until he slips on ice and vanishes into a valley of white. The scream that follows is long, but it fades quickly, replaced again by silence. The others shiver, their hearts pound against the cage of their ribs. They know now this is not a battle of strength, but of survival. Yet they do not know how to fight the cold, how to fight the storm, how to fight an enemy they cannot see. They huddle together, breaths heavy, waiting for the next attack. But the human does not attack. He waits. He lets fear grow. He lets the storm press its claws deeper into their minds. Every minute heavier than the last. Every heartbeat louder. Until one hunter snaps, he screams that the human is everywhere, that the human is the storm. He raises his spear against his own kin, striking wildly, and in the madness, two hunters fall into the snow, blood spilling dark against the ice before the storm swallows it whole. The group collapses into chaos, fighting shadows, fighting each other, their cries swallowed by the endless howl, and in the distance the human moves again, always unseen, always silent, his steps carried away by drifting winds, his presence felt but never proven. To them he has become a phantom, a ghost that bends the land itself. The predators that remain lower their heads. They no longer see prey before them. They see death written across every snowdrift. They sense the cold gnawing into their bones, breaking their strength, dulling their claws. The hunt has turned, and they are no longer hunters. They are prey caught in the jaws of a storm they cannot defeat. One alien lifts his eyes to the sky, hoping for light, for stars, for escape, but the heavens above are nothing but endless swirling white. No direction, no hope, only the blizzard that erases all paths. He falls to his knees, his breath freezing in the air, his voice breaking into whispers. He mutters that none can leave, that none will survive, and the storm seems to answer with a scream of ice and fury. The human vanishes deeper into the blizzard, his figure fading until even the memory of him feels like a lie. The creatures search desperately, their eyes straining against blindness. But they find nothing, only shifting snow, only shadows that vanish when chased, only silence that grows heavier than sound. The storm hunts them all, and the human walks within it as if born from its heart. Every creature that moves against him is broken not by his blade, but by the land itself. The predators grow weaker, the soldiers stumble, the hunters break apart. Every step forward is a trap, every breath a punishment, every choice a mistake. And as the blizzard rages, as fear grips every alien heart, as claws and fangs dull in the endless cold, a single truth rises clear like fire in the dark. Predators have become prey, and the hunt has only just begun. The storm rises higher than before, a wall of white that drowns the sky. The air screams like a living beast, every gust heavy enough to tear flesh, every breath sharp enough to slice the lungs. Nothing stands calm. Nothing stands safe. The world itself has become the predator, and all within it are prey. The aliens stumble through the endless snow, their armor coated in layers of ice, their weapons stiff with frost, their eyes bloodshot from the sting of the wind. Each one feels smaller than the storm, weaker than the blizzard, powerless in a world that refuses to show mercy. The hunt they thought they could dominate has turned into a trial they cannot endure. One creature swings its weapon wildly, but the storm mocks the strike. The blade vanishes into the snow without finding a target. Echoes twist in the wind, making enemies seem closer. Footsteps sound where none exist. Voices whisper behind them, though no one is there. Paranoia coils tight inside their minds. Fear heavier than steel. The human moves unseen, his body blending with the white fury, his steps covered by waves of drifting snow. He does not resist the storm. He moves with it, his breathing timed with the howls of the wind, his movements hidden by shadows that swirl and fade. The aliens do not see him, but they feel him, a presence pressing against their nerves like cold fingers dragging across bone. One soldier collapses, his legs frozen, his chest rattling with frost. He screams for aid, but none can hear his full cry. The storm steals half his voice and scatters it across the emptiness. His comrades glance back, but hesitation traps them. To stop is to freeze. To continue is to abandon. They leave him, their eyes hollow, their hearts already surrendering to the truth. Survival has no allies here. The blizzard twists crueler. Snow slams into their faces with the force of fists. Ice stabs at their skin like blades. The ground cracks beneath their boots, and one hunter slips, falling into a hidden ravine. His spear clatters, echoing once before silence claims it. The others shout his name, but only the wind answers, mocking them with shrieks of laughter carried from nowhere. The predators howl against the storm, voices deep and guttural, trying to claim dominance. Yet each roar is devoured, crushed into nothing. Their claws dig into the ice, but the surface breaks under them. Their fangs gleam, but grow dull against frost. Even they, who believe themselves apex, feel the truth claw into their bones. The storm does not fear them. The storm devours them. The human does not waste strength on battle cries. His silence is sharper, heavier, more terrifying, for every alien knows he is still alive. Every alien knows he walks among them unseen, and yet no one can prove where he stands. Some claim to see him ahead. Others swear he is behind. Shadows play tricks in the snow, and their sanity begins to fracture. One hunter spins, convinced the human breathes at his back. He thrusts his spear. The blade slams into the chest of his ally. The victim gasps once. Blood sprays hot against the cold. Then he falls, his body quickly swallowed by snow. The killer trembles, his eyes wide, his voice broken as he shouts apologies that vanish before they can reach ears. Then he runs blindly into the white void, and he is never seen again. The survivors dwindle, fewer with every passing breath. Yet the storm grows stronger, as if it feeds on their weakness. The blizzard howls with joy. The ice cracks with hunger. The land shifts as if alive. The hunters and soldiers cannot fight both the storm and the human who uses it as his weapon. They're trapped in a game where the world itself takes sides. The human leaves traps hidden beneath drifts, shallow pits that collapse under weight, jagged ice shards buried like teeth, misleading tracks that vanish halfway. Every alien who follows finds death waiting. Their screams rise only to be smothered by the gale. Their weapons fall silent, their shadows erased. The storm bends sound, twisting cries into whispers, twisting whispers into laughter. Some aliens cover their ears, their minds breaking under the pressure. They cannot trust sight. They cannot trust sound. They cannot trust even the ground beneath their feet. The hunt has stripped them of all certainty, all hope. One predator, desperate, claws its way upward onto a ridge of ice, believing height will give it sight. But the storm punishes pride. The ridge shatters under its weight, breaking into shards that tumble into the abyss. The predator falls, its body lost, only a fading echo left behind, and even that echo is stolen quickly. The last soldiers form a circle, weapons raised, breaths heavy, eyes darting at every flicker of movement in the white haze. They call to one another for courage, but their words sound hollow. Already their voices tremble, already their arms shake, frost crawling deeper into their veins. Even united they feel alone, for the storm surrounds them on all sides, and the human is somewhere inside it. The human watches from beyond their circle, his figure barely a shape behind curtains of snow. He waits with patience. The storm is ally, time is blade, for he knows they will break. The storm never tires, the storm never weakens, the storm always wins, and so will he. As hours pass, though they feel like days, the soldiers collapse one by one, some from cold, some from fear, some from madness. Their weapons slip from numb hands. Their armor becomes coffins of ice. Their eyes close against the eternal white, and when they fall there is no sound, only silence swallowing them whole. Those who remain whisper to themselves, prayers to gods, curses against fate, promises of vengeance. None of it matters. The blizzard rages on, and the human fades deeper into its heart, untouchable, unstoppable, unseen. By the time the storm calms for only a brief breath, when the wind slows just enough to show shapes again, the truth is undeniable. Most are gone. Those left are shadows of themselves, trembling husks wrapped in fear, and above them the snow swirls in great spirals like the eye of a beast watching its prey weaken before the strike. The storm hunts them all. The human needs only to wait, his survival certain, their deaths promised, and as the blizzard howls once more with renewed fury, the last survivors scream into the void, their cries lost to the endless white. In the silence between gusts, they hear it, faint, cold, unshaken, the sound of footsteps fading away into the storm. Whispers rise within the storm, whispers not carried by mouths, but by fear itself. The aliens speak in broken breaths that vanish before they leave their lips, each one convinced the human is no longer flesh but something else, something untouchable, a ghost that walks the snow with no weight and no shadow. And once a thought like that takes root, it grows like fire beneath the skin. It spreads faster than the wind and heavier than the cold. The survivors stagger onward, fewer than before, their bodies bruised by ice, their hearts cracked by terror. Every step a struggle, every breath a blade. They try to stay together, yet the blizzard twists their lines apart, separating them with walls of white, pulling them into isolation where fear becomes louder than reason, where shadows feel like hunters waiting just beyond reach. One soldier swears he sees a figure just ahead, tall and still, a man wrapped in rags, eyes glinting faintly in the swirl of snow. He raises his weapon and shouts. But the moment his voice cracks the air, the figure is gone. No trace, no trail, only shifting whiteness where something had stood. The soldier falls to his knees, his voice shaking, claiming the ghost watches them all, claiming they are already dead but do not yet know it. Another hunter snaps in rage. He cannot endure silence. He screams into the storm, demanding the human to reveal himself, demanding a fair fight. But the only answer is the howl of wind and the crush of snow under shifting drifts. His fury builds until he lashes out at the nearest companion, striking without thought, and the two wrestle blindly, their shouts drowned, their blood lost in the blizzard, until at last neither rises again. The others back away, their eyes wide with dread, their breaths coming fast. They do not try to stop it. They cannot, for they believe this is the will of the ghost. They believe the human does not need to strike. He only needs to watch, and their own fear will do the killing for him. Some whisper that he is not a man at all, that he has become the storm itself, that his body dissolved into snow and ice, that his eyes are the pale lights flickering in the distance, that his voice is the low groan of the gale. And whether they believe or not, the thought burrows deep. It makes every step heavier. It makes every sound sharper. It makes survival feel further away. The human himself moves unseen, his body pressed against white ridges, his movements silent as drifting flakes. He waits, he watches. He does not need to swing a blade. He does not need to roar or chase. He lets the storm cloak him. He lets their minds paint him as more than flesh. And in doing so, he becomes what they fear most, a presence without form, a ghost within the snow. One predator tries to break free from the group, his heart driven by the thought that only escape matters. He races blindly across the ice, his claws scraping the ground, but his steps lead him into a field of thin crust hidden beneath the snow. The ground shatters, plunging him into freezing water below. His shriek echoes only once before the ice closes. The others hear it and know the ghost has claimed another soul. Those who remain huddle closer, their faces pale, their voices thin. They argue about what to do. Some wish to fight, some wish to hide, some wish only to kneel and pray for release. But none find courage, none find strength, for every path they imagine ends with the same shape, the same silent figure, the same human who fades into the storm like smoke into air. The blizzard sharpens, bending sound into cruel tricks. Footsteps echo behind them, though no tracks appear. Shadows flicker in corners of their vision, though nothing stands there. Sometimes they hear a breath that is not their own. Sometimes they feel eyes pressing against their necks, though the snow shows nothing. Paranoia grows, until even a friend's touch feels like the hand of death. One soldier snaps, he throws down his weapon and runs into the white void, arms wide, shouting that he will face the ghost, shouting that he will not die cowering. The group hears his voice rise, then choke, then vanish. They rush to where the sound had been, but they find only the endless storm, no body, no blood, no trace, and the fear grips tighter, for they believe now the ghost leaves no evidence, he simply erases. The human knows patience is the sharpest blade. He moves when they falter, he vanishes when they gather, he waits when they whisper, every moment carving their strength away, every hour bending them lower, until even the strongest among them feels hollow. He does not rush, he does not waste. He lets their own terror be his weapon, and it cuts deeper than steel. In the rare breaks of the storm, when the wind slows for a breath, they glimpse him again, always distant, always silent, standing with shoulders firm, wrapped in rags, his face shadowed, his figure steady while everything else shifts and swirls. They blink, and he is gone. They look again, and the snow is empty, and yet the image stays, haunting them, branding itself into their thoughts like fire. At nightfall, though the storm hides the sky, though the sun is gone, the cold sharpens further, The air freezes inside lungs before it can be breathed out. Frost grows across armor like veins of ice. Skin burns with every touch. The aliens can barely move. They collapse to their knees one by one. Their whispers weak, their hearts giving way. But still they see him in their minds. Still they hear his footsteps fading through the blizzard. One last hunter rises, trembling, his spear broken, his eyes glazed with frost. He stares into the white haze and calls out. Not with anger, but with surrender. He begs the ghost to show mercy, to take him quickly. And for a moment, just a moment, he sees a figure standing not far ahead, watching, silent, calm. Then the snow rises and the figure fades, leaving only emptiness. The hunter collapses face first into the drifts, his breath silent, his body claimed. The others stare at the spot where he had seen the figure, their voices gone, their hope gone. Only dread remains, and though none say it aloud, they all know the truth. The ghost has no need to strike them himself. The storm is enough. Their fear is enough. Time is enough. And so they wait, trembling, their minds broken, their bodies failing, while the human walks deeper into the blizzard, his form melting into the storm, his existence now more legend than flesh, more nightmare than man. And behind him the whispers rise again, stronger, endless, echoing through the white void. He is no longer human. He is the ghost of the Arctic hunt. The storm has not ended. It has only grown heavier, each wave of wind like a hammer against flesh, each gust filled with knives of ice. The survivors stumble across a world that feels alive and cruel, their bodies bent beneath the weight of snow, their hearts cracking with dread, their voices thin, trembling, carrying no strength against the endless roar. Their numbers are few, their courage is less, their weapons hang useless in their frozen hands. Even the strongest warriors now shiver like frightened children. They move not with the pride of hunters, but with the desperation of prey. Every step slower, every breath sharper. The storm has broken their will and replaced it with silence. Whispers haunt them still, whispers that speak without tongues, whispers that echo in the spaces between gusts. Some swear the human walks beside them though unseen. Some swear he drifts above them like smoke. Some swear he is not man but storm, a presence woven into the snow itself. Whether it is madness or truth none can know, yet belief is enough. Belief alone tears their courage apart. One soldier tries to hold on, his voice rising over the gale as he shouts for unity, calling the others to stand together. Yet his words sound empty, hollow. His eyes betray his weakness, his knees tremble, and when he raises his blade against the storm, it feels more like prayer than challenge. The others turn away, their gazes heavy with despair, for they no longer believe in him. They believe only in the ghost. The storm bends sound again. Footsteps thud behind them, though no tracks appear. A shadow flits across the edge of sight, though nothing stands there. The hunters glance wildly, spinning in circles, their spears thrusting into empty snow, their panic feeding the storm, their fear louder than their breaths, until one turns his weapon on another, screaming that he sees betrayal in his eyes, that the ghost has taken his shape. The strike is swift, blood dark against white, and another body falls. Without ceremony, the rest recoil in horror, yet none move to stop it. None reach for the fallen. They only step back, their thoughts shattered, their trust burn away. Now each one sees the others not as comrades, but as enemies, threats, dangers. Each one could be the ghost in disguise, and paranoia grows sharper than steel, dividing them beyond repair. The human watches from the storm's veil, his body still, his breath hidden, his eyes narrow. He does not need to strike. He does not need to reveal himself. He lets fear eat their hearts. He lets cold bend their bones. He lets time carve them into husks. Patience is his weapon. Silence is his shield. The storm is his ally, and with them he is invincible. Another predator snarls, rage rising against terror. He charges blindly into the white haze, swearing to tear the ghost apart. But the snow betrays him. The ground opens beneath his weight. A crack hidden under drifts splits wide, and he vanishes into the void below. His roar echoes once. then silence. The fissure closes as if swallowing a meal, leaving nothing behind but white emptiness. The others hear it, and their hearts falter, their eyes dull. They no longer question if the ghost kills. They only ask when, some whisper prayers, some whisper curses, some only shiver and wait, waiting for the end to take them, waiting for the storm to finish what it began. Hours pass, though they feel like ages. The sky above remains hidden. The ground beneath remains treacherous, the storm endless. The hunters huddle together, yet feel colder than if they were alone. Their minds break further. Hallucinations rise like smoke. One swears he hears laughter. Another swears he feels warm breath at his neck. Another swears he sees footprints circling them. But when they look, all is gone. The snow blank, the silence heavy, the dread unbearable. At last one can bear no more. He falls to his knees and begins to claw at his own armor, tearing pieces away, screaming that the storm burns him alive, screaming that the ghost sits on his shoulders. The others reach for him, but he lashes out, his nails cutting skin, his cries wild. His body convulses until he collapses into the drift, shivering once, then still. The survivors back away, their faces twisted, their eyes empty. The storm rages louder, as if mocking their weakness, as if feeding on their fear, and above the roar a sound drifts, faint yet clear, the crunch of footsteps across snow. Steady, patient, calm, they freeze, their breaths caught in their throats, their eyes wide. Yet the sound fades again, leaving only silence, and the silence is worse. They cannot hold themselves together, not any longer. Unity is gone. Reason is gone. All that remains is survival. But survival is no longer a path, is a wall too high, too sharp, too cold. Each alien looks at the others not with hope, but with hatred, and slowly, inevitably, they turn against one another. Spears clash, claws slash, blades tear. The storm roars to hide their cries. And when at last it softens, there are fewer still, only a handful staggering, broken and bleeding, the snow, painted red, then covered again, as if the storm itself refuses to let memory remain. The human does not watch the violence with joy or sorrow. He only waits, still as the drifts, his eyes sharp, his mind calm. He knows the breaking point has come. He knows they're no longer hunters, no longer warriors, no longer even survivors. They're victims waiting to fall, one by one, until the storm leaves only silence. Those who remain drag their feet, their weapons heavy, their breath shallow, their minds scattered. They mutter to themselves. They curse the storm. They curse the ghost. They curse fate itself. Yet none curse their own weakness. None curse their fear. And so fear continues to devour them, stripping them of strength, stripping them of reason, stripping them of life. And as the blizzard grows sharper, as the night deepens without stars, as the ground cracks and the air cuts, the truth settles in their bones like ice. They're not fighting to win. They're not fighting to escape. They're fighting only to delay the end. And even that fight is already lost, for the ghost waits, the storm waits, and death waits with them. In the end, the breaking point has arrived, their bodies too weak, their minds too shattered, their spirits too small. They no longer ask who will survive. They only ask who will fall next. And the storm answers with silence, endless silence, as the human fades once more into the snow, unseen, untouched, unbroken. The night never ends, the storm never weakens, and the few that remain drag their bodies through white darkness that feels endless, their eyes wide with fear, their hearts broken, their hands shaking with cold and exhaustion. They stumble forward because stopping means surrender, but every step feels heavier than chains. Every breath feels thinner than smoke. Their minds wander in circles, trapped between madness and despair. The snow covers all traces of what came before, every body lost, every scream swallowed, every drop of blood hidden beneath shifting drifts. So it feels as if the survivors have been wandering forever, alone in a world that erases all memory, a world that wants them forgotten. And with each passing moment, they forget themselves too, names slipping away, purpose dissolving, only fear and cold remaining. One hunter stares into the white haze. swearing he sees shapes moving, shadows of figures walking just ahead. He calls out, his voice cracking, but the figures fade like mist, leaving only swirling snow. The others glance at him with empty eyes. They no longer trust their senses. They no longer know what is real, and in that doubt lies their greatest weakness, for reality bends when belief is gone. The human is there, unseen yet present, his steps careful, his breath hidden, his body moving like part of the storm. He waits, always waits, for them to break further, for fear to hollow their souls until nothing remains. His patience sharper than any blade, his silence heavier than any weight. He does not strike. He lets them destroy themselves, piece by piece, thought by thought, until only shadows remain. Another survivor cries out suddenly, his weapon raised. He points into the storm and screams that the ghost is there, that the human is watching. But the storm answers only with wind. His allies pull him back, telling him he is imagining, but he shakes free and rushes ahead, swinging blindly, his weapon slashing empty air, his voice breaking as he curses the snow. He falls to his knees, sobbing, and the storm takes him, covering him in white, erasing him as though he had never been. The others stand frozen, unable to help, unwilling to move, for they know stepping forward may mean the same fate. So they remain still, trembling, waiting for something, anything, that will tell them what to do. But no answer comes, only silence wrapped in endless wind, and they realize the storm has become their master, commanding them through fear alone. One whispers of surrender, his voice fragile. He says perhaps lying down is the only way, perhaps giving in is freedom. The others shake their heads weakly, yet none move to stop him. They watch as he lowers himself into the snow, his eyes closing, his lips muttering a prayer that fades into silence. The snow covers him gently, and soon he is gone, a mound of white where once there was life. Those who remain are fewer still, their breaths ragged, their eyes glazed, their bodies broken. They lean on weapons not as tools but as crutches. They glance into the storm and see nothing but death. They glance into each other's faces and see nothing but fear. No bond holds them anymore. No unity, no trust. They're strangers bound only by suffering, and suffering is not strong enough to save them. The human watches, unseen, and he knows the end is near. He can sense their weakness, their collapse. He knows they will not last, not against the storm, not against themselves, and he knows he does not need to fight, only to endure. For survival is not about strength, not about speed, not about weapons. It is about patience, and he has patience enough to outlast them all. One alien stumbles, falling to his knees, his voice cracking as he begs for light, for warmth, for home. His hands dig into the snow as though searching for comfort, but the snow only bites harder, colder, sharper. He claws at it until his fingers bleed, until his voice fades, until his body stiffens, and the storm swallows him too, leaving only white silence. Another survivor lashes out in madness, screaming at the others, accusing them of betrayal, accusing them of being the ghost in disguise. He swings his weapon wildly, his strikes clumsy, desperate. The others retreat, too weak to fight, too broken to resist. He rages until exhaustion takes him, until his body collapses, his weapon slipping from numb hands, and he does not rise again. The last two remain, staggering side by side. Yet they do not speak, they do not look at each other. They only march forward in silence, their faces blank, their eyes hollow, their breath shallow, their steps unsteady. They march because they cannot stop, yet they do not know why they march. They do not know what they seek. They are ghosts walking in flesh, already lost before they fall. The storm grows wilder, louder, darker, as though sensing their final moments. The wind screams, the snow blinds, the ground cracks beneath them, and one slips, tumbling into a hidden fissure, his cry short, his body vanishing into darkness, leaving the other alone, alone in the endless white, alone in the silence of the storm. That last survivor stumbles on, his voice weak, muttering words that carry no meaning, his body swaying with every step, his eyes closing again and again. He falls, rises, falls again. He crawls, dragging himself forward, until even crawling is too heavy, too painful, too much. He collapses, his body sinking into the snow, his breath fading, his voice gone, and the storm covers him gently, erasing him as though he never was. And then there is silence, true silence, for none remain, none but one. The human, still standing, still breathing, still alive, his figure faint, his presence hidden, his body wrapped in rough gear, his eyes sharp against the storm. He looks across the wasteland and sees nothing but white, nothing but emptiness, nothing but victory, for the hunt has ended, and he is the only one left. The storm howls around him but cannot touch him. The snow swirls but cannot bury him. The silence presses but cannot break him. He is alone, yet he is strong, for he has endured where all others have failed. He has faded into the snow not as prey, not as ghost, but as survivor, and survival is the truest victory of all. The storm fades but never ends, its voice softening as if it too has grown weary. The endless white stretches silent and empty, bodies buried, cries forgotten, shadows erased, all except one figure who still moves, one figure who still breathes, the human, wrapped in rough gear, eyes steady, his steps slow but unbroken, his breath sharp yet alive. He walks where none else could. He stands where all others have fallen. The watchers beyond the simulation see it, their alien eyes wide, their minds shaken, their voices hushed. They had believed the Arctic hunt would prove supremacy, that no fragile human could endure against predators from 10 worlds, against hunters bred for war, against beasts born for killing, against machines built for survival. Yet all are gone, all swallowed by cold and fear, and the human remains, fading into snow, yet never falling. They lean closer to their screens. They whisper, they argue, they cannot understand. They replay every moment, every clash, every scream. They see strength broken, claws shattered, armor cracked, weapons lost. But they also see silence, patience, endurance. The human never fought with fire, never rushed, never wasted. He waited, he listened, he moved like shadow. He survived not through dominance, but through stillness. And that stillness was stronger than rage, stronger than violence, stronger than pride. The council of alien commanders gathers, their faces grim, their voices low. They speak of failure, of shame, of disbelief. How could one human outlast them all? How could frail flesh endure when stronger forms perished? How could one mind outwit when whole teams fell to madness? They fear the answer, yet they know it, they feel it. Survival is not measured by strength, not by size, not by fury, but by the will to continue when all else is lost, and that will belongs to humanity. Inside the simulation, the human kneels, his hand brushing snow aside. He uncovers a shard of broken alien steel. He turns it in his hand, studying its edge, his eyes narrow, not with greed, not with triumph, but with memory, with thought, with a quiet fire that does not fade. He knows he has been tested. He knows they watched. He knows this was not accident. This was trial. And he was chosen not for his body, but for what lies within. He rises again, the storm circling him like a crown. He walks forward, leaving no tracks as snow erases each step. Yet his presence lingers in the eyes of those who see. They cannot look away. They cannot dismiss what has been revealed. The human is no longer prey, no longer specimen. He is symbol. He is proof, and proof is more dangerous than any blade, more powerful than any beast, for proof changes belief, and belief changes everything. The chamber of watchers grows restless. Some demand the simulation be erased, records purged, silence imposed. Others argue it must be studied, dissected, understood, but a few remain silent, their eyes wide, their thoughts racing. They feel something deeper, something heavier, a truth they cannot deny. If one human can endure what none else could, then what will happen when more rise, when more are tested, when more learn to fade into storm and return alive? The human stops at the heart of the simulation. A beacon rises from the snow, the signal of completion, the mark of survival. Light cuts through the storm, shining on his form, casting long shadows that dance across the white. The simulation trembles as systems shut down, walls of illusion fade, machines fall silent, and the frozen wasteland dissolves into nothing, leaving him standing alone on steel ground beneath the gaze of countless alien eyes. He does not flinch. He does not bow. He only stares back, calm and unbroken, his silence heavier than words, his presence sharper than threats. The council shifts uneasily, their pride wounded, their confidence cracked. They had thought the hunt unbreakable. They had thought survival impossible. Yet here stands proof of failure, proof of weakness, proof of humanity's strength hidden in simplicity. One alien commander rises, his voice trembling though loud. He declares the simulation flawed. He declares the result meaningless. Yet the others do not answer, their silence deeper than denial, their thoughts too heavy, their fear too strong. They know the simulation was pure, the cold was true, the danger was real, and the human endured. Nothing can erase that. Nothing can undo what has been seen. The human takes a breath, his voice finally breaking silence, his words simple, his tone quiet. Yet they echo through the chamber like thunder. He says he did not win. He only survived. He says survival is not victory. It is choice. It is will. It is the refusal to end when all else ends. He says this is what it means to be human, and his voice cuts through them like fire through ice. The council stares, unable to respond, unable to deny, their silence heavier than stone, their fear growing with every second, for they know this was only one human, one among billions, one among countless others who share that same will, that same choice, that same fire. And if one alone can endure what none of them could, then what will happen when many rise, when humanity itself stands against storm and death? The chamber darkens, the simulation closes, the human vanishes in a shadow, but his presence lingers, his memory carved deep, his endurance a scar they cannot erase, his words an echo they cannot silence. They see snow in their dreams. They hear wind in their minds. They feel his eyes in their thoughts. They fear him even as they try to forget. They know forgetting is impossible, for truth once revealed never fades. And so the legend begins, whispered first in hushed voices, then carried on across stars, the tale of the Arctic hunt where none survived but one. The tale of the human who faded into snow yet returned alive. The tale of endurance beyond strength, patience beyond fury, survival beyond death. A tale that spreads through empires, through fleets, through armies, and wherever it goes it plants a seed of fear, a seed of awe, a seed of respect for the species that will not break. The human returns home, silent as he came, his eyes still sharp, his steps still steady, his voice still quiet, yet he carries with him a fire that cannot be hidden, a truth that cannot be denied. He knows the hunt was not end but beginning. He knows the storm was not enemy, but teacher. He knows survival was not accident, but destiny. And he walks in the night knowing more storms will come, more trials will rise, more worlds will test, and he will endure again, for that is what it means to be human.